Welcome to Oddly Real. I'm Nem Stefanovic. The most fundamental component of life on Earth is the biological cell. Bacteria, plants, animals, and even ourselves are composed of microscopic cells that consume energy, build proteins, grow, and reproduce. The instructions for their development and operation are encoded within their DNA. In fact, the DNA within almost every cell uniquely encodes the entirety of the organism, whether it's a flower, a fish, or a human being. In order to create new cells for growth or replace older or damaged cells, DNA must be replicated as accurately as possible. This is happening regularly within the cells of organisms. There are extraordinary mechanisms in place to copy DNA, check its accuracy, conduct repairs, and even trigger self-destruction if there are severe issues. Typical bacteria are able to replicate themselves and their DNA without limits, which effectively makes them immortal. Yet multicellular higher life forms like plants and animals have inherent limits to how many times their cells can reproduce. This effectively puts a finite age limit on the organism. Why are bacteria immortal, but multicellular organisms not? What's the reason for the limitation of cell division in higher life forms? Multicellular life is much more complicated than single-celled organisms and much more challenging to maintain. Unlimited replication and growth of bacteria is desirable in many situations, whereas it can be harmful if cells grow without control in complex life. In fact, uncontrolled cell growth is one of the major problems associated with cancers. The very structure of human, plant, and animal DNA is different from bacteria, necessitating a special protective cap on our DNA called telomeres. Telomeres are responsible for protecting our genetic information during the process of cell replication. Over time, telomeres diminish, which eventually halts cell replication, contributing to the aging of the body. Yet, this genetic programming is not strictly set in stone, and it's possible to extend telomeres with real implications for longer, healthier lives. All forms of life on Earth are founded on genetic code that's imprinted within the molecular structure of DNA. Every type of biological cell, whether bacteria, plant, or animal, all contain instructions for their growth and operation within their DNA. Whenever a cell replicates to increase the population of bacteria or to grow or replace tissue in a body, the DNA within the cell must be replicated with extreme accuracy. Bacterial cells are much simpler than plant or animal cells. Bacteria and single-celled organisms in general are able to replicate indefinitely as long as they have the necessary nutrients and proper environmental conditions. The purpose of their replication is to grow their population. Bacteria are essentially immortal since they have no inherent limit on their lifespan. This is not the case with more complex life like that of plants and animals, including human beings. Whereas bacterial cells can replicate without limit, which may be favorable to the organism and its population, that is not the case with multicellular life. Unregulated growth of cells can be harmful to the greater organism. These types of life forms have strict regulations and limitations for cell replication. The cell cycle for complex cells, called eukaryotes, which are found in plants and animals, progress through multiple stages before replicating. There are checks and regulations for each stage to ensure the cell is ready to replicate and there are no mistakes made and no cellular damage. The actual process of replication happens in the mitosis stage. However, prior to this, a cell will undergo growth in the G1 or growth 1 phase. Here, proteins are created and cellular components are arranged in preparation for DNA replication and subsequent cell division. The S phase is where the DNA of the cell is copied, followed by another growth phase called G2 or growth 2 phase. Here, the DNA is rechecked to ensure it is correctly and completely copied. Additional proteins are also created before entering the M or mitosis phase for cell division to ultimately restart the cell cycle again. The cell cycle is controlled by proteins called cyclins and cyclin-dependent kinases. Different types of cyclins and kinases control different stages of the cell cycle. The stages are active when cyclins are bound to kinases. Upon completion of each phase of the cell cycle, the cyclin is destroyed in order to inactivate the kinase. In the late stage of the G1 growth phase, the cell conducts a check to ensure there is no DNA damage prior to replication in the subsequent S phase. This is called the G1S checkpoint. Damaged DNA would be passed on to the replicated cells, which is not desirable. This kind of damage poses a risk for the development of cancer. If DNA damage is detected, the cell enters an inactive phase, halting progression to the next phase, the S phase. What actually happens is the cell increases the number of p53 proteins, which also results in the creation of p21 proteins. These bind to the S kinase to inactivate it until the damage can be resolved via cellular repair systems. If the DNA damage cannot be repaired, the p53 protein triggers cell death to prevent the cell from replicating and passing along the damaged DNA. If a cell is malfunctioning or doesn't have functional p53 proteins, it is possible for the cell to continue towards replication. In this case, the damaged DNA would proliferate to the next generation of cells. It has been shown that around 50% of all cancers have mutations that inactivate the p53 gene. If the cell's DNA is able to pass the G1S checkpoint, then the cell enters the S phase for DNA replication. DNA replication is no simple feat. Human cells contain approximately 6 billion base pairs in their DNA. If all of the DNA was copied sequentially at a rate of 1 nucleotide per second, the cell would require 190 years to finish. Human cells are actually able to replicate nucleotides faster at a rate of 50 nucleotides per second. But even at this rate, a cell would need close to 4 years to replicate all of its DNA. Clearly, this wouldn't be practical. In reality, a human cell is able to replicate its DNA within 8 hours. How is a cell able to accomplish this task so quickly? Replication of DNA begins at locations along the DNA chain called origins of replication. A bacterial cell may have just one origin of replication, but its DNA is simple enough and its replication process is fast enough, about 10 times faster than human cells, that it can complete its entire replication within 40 minutes. Human DNA has between 30,000 and 50,000 origins of replication, which allows for multiple replication processes to occur in parallel, which significantly improves the replication speed. Replication stops when 2 replication forks meet or when the end of a chromosome is reached. Incredibly, the cell has multiple mechanisms to help regulate and control the replication process, including enzymes that can proofread the replicated DNA to ensure accuracy, or others that ensure the unwound DNA strands do not tangle or overwind themselves. Amazingly, DNA storage in humans and other eukaryotic cells is highly efficient and compact. DNA is packaged into condensed bundles called nucleosomes. These are then further compacted together into chromosomes. If the DNA in a human cell was completely unwound, it would measure 6 feet or almost 2 meters in length. This tight packaging is not conducive to replication, so the DNA is first unwound prior to replication and the newly synthesized DNA is repackaged into nucleosomes. The DNA replication process for simpler organisms, like bacteria, is less problematic than our own. In the case of bacteria, the DNA chromosomes tend to be circular, without endpoints. However, in plants, animals, and humans, chromosomes are linear, with beginning and end caps. This causes unique problems during DNA replication. RNA primers are used to help facilitate DNA construction. However, there is insufficient space to use these primers towards the ends of the chromosomes. The consequence of this is that there is a short stretch of DNA at the ends of the chromosomes which do not get replicated. In fact, the replicated chromosome is a little bit shorter than the original, and those end encodings are lost. Nature provides a mechanism to protect our genetic information from this replication loss by adding end caps to the chromosomes. These end caps don't encode any protein information for the cell, but provide slack to allow for some chromosome shrinkage. These end caps are called telomeres. However, even telomeres shrink with each round of DNA replication and eventually run out. Laboratory experiments have revealed that human somatic cells, which are non-egg or non-sperm cells, have limits to the number of times that they can replicate before they stop and degenerate. This is called the Hayflick limit. For example, cells from a human baby are typically able to replicate 80 to 90 times. However, cells from an individual that is over 70 years old are only able to replicate upwards of 25 times. Ultimately, what's happening is that there's a programmed biological clock that is built into human cells that limits their replication, resulting in degeneration and death. Interestingly, bacteria, which have circular DNA and don't use telomere end caps, aren't impacted by the Hayflick limit. They can replicate their DNA without limit, making them effectively immortal. How are telomeres created in the first place? And is it possible to regrow these end caps to extend the life of cells? There is, in fact, an enzyme called Telomerase that can add new telomere sequences to the ends of chromosomes. Perhaps more amazing still, it's actually encoded in the DNA of every human cell. Yet, for most cells, this gene is not expressed or utilized in any significant way. The exceptions are human egg cells, sperm cells, and stem cells, which are undifferentiated cells. These cells have active telomerase to ensure that biological offspring are born with full-length chromosomes. Does telomere length in cells actually correlate with youthfulness or longer lifespans in organisms as a whole? Well, in fact, it does. People with longer telomeres appear to live longer. However, it's not the whole story. There are other factors as well that contribute to aging overall, such as oxidative damage within cells. Does this mean if we extend the telomere lengths in our cells, we'd be able to live longer? By 1999, research had demonstrated that when telomere lengths were reset in older human cells, it not only reset the Hayflick limit, but the cells looked and behaved like young cells. Moreover, if you took human skin cells from an older person, they would grow together to be thin and frail. Yet, if you do the same experiment using older cells that had their telomere lengths reset, the skin would grow thick and complex like one would expect to see from a young person. In 2015, at the Stanford University School of Medicine, researchers were able to successfully activate telomerase within cultured cells for a period of 48 hours. This resulted in an extending of telomere lengths for that period of time. The cells were able to divide many more times than those that didn't have their telomeres extended. Before we start getting too excited about the prospect of cell rejuvenation, there's a consequence allowing cells to continue to divide over extended periods of time. One significant consequence is the proliferation of cancer. It turns out that around 90% of cancers have active telomerase. The fact that telomerase can stay turned on results in cancers growing without bound. In fact, cancer cells are immortal, and they can be kept alive indefinitely in laboratories. There is significant research taking place in drug development to try to inhibit telomere expression in order to kill cancer cells. There is other evidence that suggests telomeres play a significant role in aging. There is a rare genetic disorder called progeria that results in rapid aging for the individual. Symptoms such as balding and severe cardiovascular disease can onset as early as age 2. The cells of affected individuals have telomere lengths that are much shorter than normal. Other factors can influence the lengths of telomeres in human beings as well. For example, the telomere lengths of babies can be impacted by maternal stress during pregnancy. In another example, children that grew up in orphanages in Romania were shown to have shorter telomeres when compared to their peers that were placed with adoptive families. Finally, there are some sources of naturally occurring compounds that may be able to influence telomere activity. For example, resveratrol in grapes may boost telomere activity. Alternatively, soy products may inhibit telomerase. The actual influence that these compounds may have to affect telomere activity in the human body is still unclear. However, there are already well-known activities and habits that promote health and increase telomere length in humans. These include physical activity, eating fruits and vegetables, and relaxing. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and remember, oddly real, really interesting.